This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia sends on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, we're starting the show today here, A's Cast Live. Rangers are in town. It's a 4-game set. I got my list of guests. Who are you?
Mason Miller.
Mason Miller. Hey, I've heard of you before.
Yeah.
Let's get this right here. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
You
It's been a
know,
little while.
there's a lot of spotlight on you these days. How is the transition now? Everybody wants to talk to you. What is that like?
It's an adjustment, but it's nice to be kind of all that work you're putting in on the field, being appreciated, being recognized. So, yeah, I'm leaning into it, but staying grounded for sure.
Because it's a whole different ballgame. I try to explain to the audience, and we saw it with Brent Rooker last year, is when you go over to MLB Network and you're going to do MLB Central, that then is going to be played at every ballpark all day long because they take it after that morning and cut it up throughout the day. Did you notice this sense of exposure after you did that, like people reaching out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just kind of snowballed into, one thing after the other. I've been busy, but, staying focused on what we got going on the field right now. It's pretty exciting.
Baseball's about having fun, and it looks like you're having fun again. Like, we're not talking about rehabbing. We're not talking about, hey, when do we think you're going to be back, or like stuff we've talked about in the past. How much fun is that for you, that you're just out playing, and this is what it's all about?
That's what you've been working for. Get back from an injury. You want to put it in your rear view as much as possible. We're almost to the point now where we don't even think about it. It's been nice to come out the way I have this year and, get the spotlight focused on that.
Well, then also the spotlight, too, on your fellow bullpen guys. I know how much you guys are enjoying that, one of the best bullpens in all of baseball. I was just having a conversation, actually, with Bobby Crosby because obviously Boyle now at the back is going to go out and there's going to be decisions made. And I'm thinking, like, I love Kyle Muller. I love Mitch Spence. We just had Mitch on the show. We've had Muller on a lot. And I know they could easily go back to being starters, but I'm like, no, I want to keep everything the way it is. Talk about just like the ecosystem that is the bullpen and just how it just has all thrived and everybody's really settled into their roles.
Yeah, everybody's really embraced their roles. I mean, it's been great watching everybody throw the ball. It's contagious, obviously. So, you hate to see Joe go down. But, in the same breath, we do feel confident that we have guys that can kind of step into his role. And we got guys that are, able to fill the shoes down there too. So I think what we got going on is good. We'll make the adjustments as we need to, but yeah, we're feeling pretty good.
Isn't it pretty crazy that today is the first time the A's have made a move all season long with a pitcher?
Feels different than last year, doesn't it?
Last year, you guys needed name tags down to the bullpen.
Yeah. I mean, just the security that brings not only us, but, the guys in the dugout that are able to, get the ball to us and trust us down there. I don't think there can be enough said about that.
Your story is phenomenal. So is Lucas Erceg. And I know you guys are starting to become pretty tight. And you think about Erceg not that long ago was playing third base, hitting bombs in AAA. And to where he is now, that he's closing games out when you're not. Just talk about what you've seen in his growth as he is still learning how to be a pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas has really adapted well to it. We got to see it a little bit towards the end of last year, but, just him being able to take to the role as he has been amazing to watch. He's got crazy good stuff. We always tease him when we're out for stretch. He always makes sure that he's pretty close to third base. But he's been great, man. I mean, he's an awesome guy to have down there, guy you want on your team for sure. So just having him down there and watching him become the pitcher he has, this spring has been great.
And speaking of the roles, have you now truly embraced it? Do you love it? Is this like I'm the gun coming in at the very end? Because that's what you are.
Yeah, I love it. I've said it a lot on these interviews, but it's just all that hard work the guys are putting in, through the first 8 innings of the game to get us to that point where I'm coming in with a save situation. I really love it. I love leaning into the energy in the stadium or taking that energy out of the stadium. It's been a blast so far.
Was it just incredible in New York, shutting those games out and blowing it by those big name guys?
Yeah. I mean, after our series in Cleveland, we were kind of on our heels a little bit. We really haven't played well against them at all. But, to go into New York and split on the road, we're happy about that. And then to kind of cap that off by going to Baltimore and taking the series, that was a great way for us to end that trip and come back here on a high note.
And it gives you the belief in the team, right? Coming off that trip, you start to really believe, hey, we are what we thought we were out of spring training.
Yeah, that belief's there for us for sure. Regardless of the outcomes on the field, we believe that. We know the group that we have. We know the guys that are in that locker room and can contribute on this field. So just being able to go out and show that, to people outside of this clubhouse and, get that support out there and, get that, kind of monkey off our back in terms of just, some of those games that we let get away from us.
And there is a big transition going from a starter to a bullpen guy. It's completely different. Have you settled completely in from that transition? And also, now you don't need a bunch of pitches. Now you just need to come in and get 3 outs.
Yeah, every pitch is important. Starter, reliever, bullpen, every pitch is important. But, with the game on the line, those last 15 pitches are, the most important of the game. So, yeah, it's been an adjustment for sure. But, giving me spring training and the offseason to prepare for it. And then obviously hitting the ground running this year has been great.
Because as a starter, you don't want to air it out in the first inning. You're trying to go deep into a game. How's it feel now to where you can flat out just let her rip?
That's great feeling. Yeah, I mean, it's really not so much you're saving yourself for 100 pitches, but really it's just knowing that you're going to face a guy a couple times. So instead of just coming at him with your best stuff, maybe you're trying to save a pitch or trying to set something up for later in the game if you face him in a big spot. Now it's just your best on his best. And I think from the mound perspective, a guy that hits 300 is a great hitter. So, you're going to win 7 out of 10 times at least. So I just think going out there with that mindset that you're going to dominate every time is great.
Where are we with the closers coming in? Something crazy's got to go on in the stadium. Have we discussed this like we see with other closers in other stadiums?
I mean, for me, I'm going out there. I'm focused on what I'm doing. So, I don't really
no pyro,
pay attention to all that.
Fireworks.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to get out of the mound, get the guy in the box. So, the sooner that's over with, the sooner I can get down to business, the better.
Now you're talking with Cots, you're talking with the training staff. Like where are we with how much do you think you can be used right now?
Yeah, I think the training wheels are off. The throwing back to back was the first, kind of hurdle that we're kind of cautious of, I'd say. So it just kind of happened that, the times I've gone back to back, there's been another save situation that 3rd day or sometimes that 4th day. But yeah, it's a long year. So we're just trying to be smart about it and make sure that, I'm in the best place to get through this whole year healthy.
How's the family dealing with that? Because there's a lot of notoriety. You become a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a big deal for my family. I think, they've always said they're Mason Miller fans more than they are baseball fans, but to see all the recognition I get in the baseball world, it's been pretty cool for them too. But yeah, it's an adjustment being from the East Coast now, having to watch games that are, starting at 10 o'clock and maybe I don't get in the game till around midnight. There's been a lot of late nights back home, but they're still tuning in.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game. You're not. It's not the start of the game anymore. You got to stay up at night. I could see that could be tough. Let's end on this. When you guys left spring training, we were all down there, and we had you on, and we were all fired up going, this team's going to be better, this team's going to be better. And then you get off to a slow start, and it's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Now where this team is, I mean, you think about the series wins. First of all, you split the 4-game set in New York. That's big. Then you win the series in Baltimore. You come back, sweep Pittsburgh, kind of take care of business, and then you took care of business against the Marlins. Just talk about the clubhouse and what it's like right now and the confidence that you guys have.
Yeah, I mean, the expectation is, no matter who's in the other dugout, we're showing up to win every day. And I think that's the biggest change from last year. I mean, even with our slow start, we kind of beat ourselves a couple of those games. We also played several close games too. And, we knew that, we're not going to go a whole year and lose every close game, so we go on the road and, win some close games in Detroit and Texas, and just kind of just showing that, we do have what it takes. I think the confidence has been there since spring training for sure. But yeah, it's just consistency, showing up every day, bringing that mindset, bringing that mentality. Yeah, it's been great.
Hey, if you want to start the show out, you want to come at the end of the show, whenever you want to come.
Hey, you let me know.
Yeah, no, you let us know. We're ready to rock anytime you are. But, I'm so happy for you that we can just talk about pitching. We can talk about success. We can talk about winning, because that's what you've dreamed about, right?
No doubt. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Good stuff. We
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Mason Miller,
Towny.
the closer of the Oakland Athletics. We got more coming up next. We get you ready for the start of A's Cast Live.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Throws and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Baseball season is officially here, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the first product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 1. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit Xfinity.com/network management.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
A's Cast Live continues from Rickey Henderson Field. Here's Chris Townsend.
I mean, how big league is that? You go from Mason Miller's becoming a star. I mean, he really is becoming a star to someone who already is a star.
Well, no, let's not get carried away here.
Well, you're a Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer.
Which you will be too.
You're a Ford
You'll be in there very soon.
You're a Ford C. Frick Award finalist.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So was Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper.
They should go in together.
I've always felt that way. And I think there's been a lot of resistance to that, Towny. But to name drop, when I was talking to Bob Costas about that, he said, if you're like that segue,
yeah.
He said, if you're going to have like a comedy Hall of Fame, you wouldn't put Penn in without Teller.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't, it's hard to put, Kuip in without Krug. Right? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
When I'm talking to Bobby.
Yeah. That was the one and only time I've talked to him. But it was great. He's great. And,
we've had Bob Costas on the show.
Fantastic.
It's so interesting about someone like that and like yourself. I mean, you've had a very accomplished career, is that he still just wants to be Bob Costas. I mean, you can sit there and go, man, every Olympics I ever watched, you're the guy. He's not like that. It's
No.
And neither are you.
He's amazingly fluent with the language and the way he articulates and enunciates and, off the cuff kind of stuff. You think that you'd have to sit down and write that for a half hour to deliver it with the way that he does. So the erudition and all that, Towny.
Yeah, that's that smart guy stuff.
Yeah, right.
I'm a state school kid, Ken. All right.
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. What's got you going right now with this team? We get to the ballpark, you win, you feel a little better.
They have 9 wins from starting pitchers this year, and that didn't happen last year until their 87th game. So when you're starting pitching, yesterday was an aberration compared to what's happened on the homestand, of course, with Joe Boyle. Now he's on the IL. But if you can get out with your starting pitching, hold the other team at bay for a while, now you've got this really good bullpen, and you feel if you're close and you're getting late in the game, you've got a real shot.
No doubt. And the bullpen, to me, I've been asking people this. I know I came in yesterday during the game when we knew Boyle was probably going to go on the IL. I said to you guys, and I said on the post game last night, like the ecosystem that is the pitching staff, I do not want to disrupt it. It is so good right now. I would like to see Boyle's being taken out, plug someone in for Boyle, don't mess with anything. I know you could say, well, what about Mueller? What about Mitch Spence? But the way they have pitched in their roles, I don't want to mess with anybody's roles. Does that make sense?
Well, because it's been successful so far.
It works.
It's been working. And even after the bullpen allowed, 8 runs in yesterday's game, Towny?
Yeah.
The bullpen ERA is still the 6th best in baseball. And they've had the same 8 guys out there for the whole season. So, yeah, I think having those long guys and Mueller from the left side and Spence from the right side has been a real plus for the club.
One of the things we want to talk to you about today, I just want to talk a little A's with you because we want to say happy birthday to the great Willie Mays, 93 years old, the oldest living Hall of Famer. Willie is, you could say the greatest player of all time. He's definitely one of,
a lot of people have said that.
Well, there's the Hall of Famers, and then there's that upper tier guys where you put Ruth, Willie, Hank Aaron, Ted Williams. There's that, Bonds would be there. Ricky Henderson is there. There's a group of players. You got to see a lot of Willie Mays and his greatness.
Yeah, 93 today. And John Shea, of course, wrote a great Mays book. And John was telling me that Mays liked it so much that he actually listened to the audio book, which was a thrill for him too. But, one of the things about growing up on the West Coast, whether you were growing up here or LA, where I am from, is that if you wanted to follow your club, this is back in the 60s, and the Dodgers moved to LA, as you know, in 58. But throughout much of the 60s, if you wanted to follow your team, you had to do it on the radio.
Or you had to go.
Yeah. Because the only games but it was a treat because the Giants and the Dodgers were so good. Of course, they had the one playoff in 62 that the Dodgers televised only 9 games all year when I was a kid. This is, as I said, back in the 60s. And those were the 9 games in San Francisco. So that was your only shot, really, to see the team on the road and to see the team, see the players up close on TV, black and white, of course, that Vin Scully and Jerry Doggett would talk about on the radio on the Dodgers broadcast. I feel fortunate that not only did I see Mays play live at the Coliseum in LA before they moved to Dodger Stadium, and then, of course, at Dodger Stadium as well. And it's funny, Towny, because we lived a lot closer to Dodger Stadium than we lived to the Big A in Anaheim. And, of course, the Angels played at Dodger Stadium 62, 3, 4, and 5. They moved to Anaheim in 66. But my dad was not a real fan of O'Malley. And so we kind of adopted the Angels when they were born in 62. And when I was a kid, I actually rooted for the Giants more than I rooted for the A's or for the Dodgers.
Now,
even though we were in LA, now when Koufax pitched, as you know, that was a pretty big deal. So we followed the Dodgers ardently, but I actually, in terms of like the emotion that you spend, your emotional commitment to a team when you're a kid, I was more of a Giants fan for a period of time back in the 60s than I was a Dodger fan.
I mean, your father is so fascinating, still alive at 104 years old. Why was
105.
105. Why was he against Walter O'Malley?
Because he felt that he got too much of a sweetheart deal from L.A. when they moved from Brooklyn to get the land and then build Dodger Stadium. And he thought that was like too much of a giveaway to O'Malley.
See?
So
Even back then, we were against ownership.
Yeah.
We're always against ownership. Doesn't matter what decade.
Said. But, of course, the Giants teams were fun to watch. It's Cepeda and McCovey and Mays. And, of course, Mays was a cut above. I mean, he was just you talked about it, as he's in that elite of the elite when you talk about Hall of Famers. And Jim Ray Hart was someone I really enjoyed watching a lot. He was like my favorite player for a couple of years, the third baseman for the Giants.
Way back when I was on KMBR, I got to do a sit-down with Willie Mays because my grandfather played at the end of his career with Willie Mays in 1952 with the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, because Willie Mays wasn't sitting down with a young kid, right? So, but I got that opportunity. And, you know, people need to realize Mays is not a big guy.
No.
He is not a big guy. So,
he was about 5'10", 5'11" when he played, right?
Yeah, now he's, you know, he's 93. But he the power, the speed to lead baseball and stolen bases 4 times, home runs in 4 times. I mean, when you talked about the truly all around player, Willie Mays was a guy who truly stole bases, hit bombs, did it all.
And I think he saw himself when he's talked about this as an entertainer too.
Yeah.
He had all the attributes. The basket, he would lose his hat. He'd round first base, go to second. He'd lose his hat. Hat would come off. He'd go into third base with a slide and so that was a big part of the attraction that I think people had to Mays, beside, you know, his brilliance as a player. And you know, Candlestick really changed Mays in terms of his approach at the plate, because he became you think of all the home runs that he hit, but he had to think about right center and right field at Candlestick because of the way the wind blew there. So how many home runs would he have hit if he had been in a ballpark that he didn't have to deal with those kinds of conditions, but he was able to change his game a little bit in terms of the power part of it. He was always great running the bases, center field. It was incredible. And so, you know, to be a kid and follow those National League teams when they would come into Dodger Stadium, my best friend's dad had season tickets kind of close to home plate there, and to see Clemente come in and to see Aaron and those guys, it was really a thrill.
Well, I you know, thinking about Willie Mays on MLB Network today, talking about his birthday, you know, we can kind of project with numbers now if you played in what era, the expected, and Willie Mays, if he would have played in this Yankee Stadium, they project would have hit 788 home runs.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though it's a lot farther to left field than right field.
Well, the left field
Yankee
now
Stadium,
at Yankee
right.
Stadium, isn't that, you know?
No, it's not like it used to be. It used to be like it was like 402 to left center
with
in
the
old Yankee Stadium.
In this Yankee Stadium that they're playing in now, because they were like comparing it to Aaron Judge.
Yeah. I mean, pretty amazing. And then he learned to go the other way, like we said. So that right field would have been really inviting to Mays.
Well, the crazy thing is how everybody hates on batting average now. And you look at someone, and that was the thing about Mays and Aaron and some of these players, Stan Musial, they all had these big home run numbers, but they all had 3,000 hits. They all hit well over 300. They were complete hitters.
It was frowned upon to strike out 100 times back then.
He only did it once. And I think he was.
There you go.
It was his last year with the Mets.
Now it's not that big a deal. Guys strike out 175 times, 180, 190. Adolis Garcia was a great player and was phenomenal in the postseason for the Rangers. Struck out like 180 or 85 times the last couple of years. So, what a thrill to think about Mays. And now the Giants are going to play the Cardinals in Birmingham at Rickwood Field on June 20th, which is really a kind of a homage to Mays in a way, but certainly to the totality of the Negro Leagues and what that meant. And, you know, with Mays playing there in 1948 in Birmingham. And so I doubt he'll be there. I shouldn't speak out of school, but traveling, I don't believe he'll be there for the game, but I know it'll mean a lot for Mays to have that game being played at a regular season game at Rickwood Field, the oldest ballpark in baseball, where he played in 1948.
It's the
it's great.
story. The story is incredible, and I think of you as a kid when you're thinking about Sandy Koufax or Don Drysdale going up against Mays and McCovey, Cepeda. I mean, those battles. Like when you were a kid growing up, and because we talked about Ken Holtzman. When Ken Holtzman passed away, I did an interview with Ken Holtzman, and he said, there was a lot of pressure on him to be because he was Jewish, to be the next Sandy Koufax, right?
Right, yeah, for sure.
And so we don't think about it now. We don't talk really about that about players now, but how big was it as a kid when Sandy Koufax was pitching? It's like, this guy's the best pitcher in baseball. He's Jewish. He's left-handed. He's incredible.
It's a lot of pride. And as I've told you, I think last time we were on, it was a holiday whenever he pitched for my grandmother, who was from the old country, Eastern Europe, and she didn't know hardly anything about baseball, but she knew Koufax. She called him her Sandala, right? And then even Sean Green, as recently as Sean Green, when he went to the Dodgers after I think he went from the Blue Jays to the Dodgers and signed a big free agent contract there. He felt an obligation and some pressure to perform because of his ties to the Jewish community as well. So there was a lot of focus on Sean. And of course, Zach Geloff played for Team Israel in the WBC. So, and I know it was really meaningful for him.
I mean, you've got a Koufax-Mays matchup, the Titans. I mean, titans of the game going after it. And, it's crazy to think, because when I first got in this business around 96, 97, I want to say, and it was one of the reasons why radio games used to be so highly rated, was that
You're saying they're not now? Come on,
well,
Towny.
I mean, there's a lot of people listening to us, but the reality is games weren't on television.
Yeah, right.
I want to say when I first got into the business, the Giants only had like 90-something games on TV. I think the A's had like 60.
Yeah.
So where now every game's on television.
That
Changes everything.
It does. Like I said, there were just 9 games on back then.
That's why. 9 games.
Yeah, 153.
So there was never a game on from Dodger Stadium.
No. In fact, there was, even in the early days of radio, the owners didn't want the games on the radio. I mean,
they want you going to the game.
They want you going to the game. So there was this great fear on the part of those who ran the ball clubs and the leagues that even if the games were on radio, people would stay home and listen instead of going to the ballpark. So it took a long time, and it took a long time for teams to start televising the home games, because again, there was this thought about attendance. So yeah, things have changed for sure. Man.
So last college football season, I took a Saturday off and I went down to watch my beloved San Jose State Spartans take on USC at the Coliseum.
Right.
And the Coliseum, the Los Angeles Coliseum, not this Coliseum, the Los Angeles Coliseum.
Both legendary in their own ways.
This venue, like you walk around, multiple Olympics where they have those big plates and they have the finalists of all these different. They had 3 Olympics, or is it 2?
32 and I think 32 and 84.
84.
Yeah.
But it's like, everything that's gone on there. And the one thing that no one thinks about, because you think of great NFL games, great college games, obviously great college games with USC, the Olympics and everything. No one thinks about great baseball. Did you ever see a game? Did you ever see
yeah. And the thing is now with the Coliseum, it's a little different too, because they did all those renovations, right, with the press box and
they put luxury suites,
seating on the one sideline, right? The southern, I think, what would it be, the western end? I don't know. But when I was a kid, it's changed because they had a running track, too, which they don't have anymore. So the seats are closer to the field now at the Coliseum. So when you went to a game, even a football game, if you were closer to the end zone, you were a long ways from the action because of the track, and they've changed that. But when my dad, of course, my dad was a high school baseball and basketball coach back then, and because the Coliseum was so vast, 100,000 people,
115.
No, I never held. I think it was 100, right? And then it went down to like 93.
It got up to. I went to 1988.
Yeah.
I went to Notre Dame USC 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
The year Notre Dame would win with Lou Holtz the national championship. There was like 108,000 people.
Yeah, I guess.
Crazy.
So anyway, my point is that because they had all these seats to fill, the Dodgers gave all the high school baseball coaches, a pass for the coach and a guest. So whenever we wanted to go to a game when I was a kid, we got in for free. So we were freeloaders when the Dodgers played there in 58, 59, 60, and 61. Now we sat way out we were probably closer to the Pacific Ocean than we were to the field, Towny. I remember we sat way down the left field line up near the top of the Coliseum. You're a long ways away. I didn't realize that there were ballparks where you actually could get kind of close to the field. That's all you know. But in 59, of course, they went to the World Series and they beat the White Sox in the World Series in 59. And then they moved into Dodger Stadium in 62. And the Angels were born in 61, and the Angels played at the minor league Wrigley Field in downtown LA in 1961.
The Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. My grandfather was on the first staff of the Angels.
Really?
Rigney brought him in.
Yeah.
My grandfather was the first. This is after he was done playing, obviously. It was his. He was the first base coach of the Los Angeles Angels. Yeah.
Fred Haney was the general manager.
61.
Yeah, 61. And then in 62, they were in first place on July 4th. And they beat the Orioles in a game on July 4th, and they were in first place in 62. Jim Fregosi was their shortstop, and he was my favorite player. And then when he was managing the Blue Jays, I had him on our pregame show, so that was...
Did you tell him that?
I sure did, yeah. It was a trip, man.
Did you ask him if they had a rally monkey back then?
I don't think they did. But
they didn't have a rally monkey in 61 and 62?
Yeah, that was really cool, right?
That is cool.
61 and the
when did they get into the Big A?
66. Yeah. Dodger Stadium in 62, Big A in 66.
And the Rams started in the Big A when?
Oh, I don't remember, Towny. It was sometime in the 70s, wasn't it? I guess. I don't know. And, that's when they enclosed it completely. When the Rams came down, they did a major renovation.
Yeah.
And then they kind of retrofitted it when the Rams left. And it's a lot better ballpark now than it was when the Rams were in there.
Growing up in Southern California, for me, that area didn't become relevant until I went to Disneyland.
Right.
I could give two you-know-whats about the ballparks. We would get off either way. The old days, it's completely changed. But on I-5, you'd get off on Catella.
Right.
You went left to go to Disneyland, coming from San Diego. You'd go left or you'd go right to go to the Big A.
And you don't remember the minor league Padres. They were born before. They were playing in the Coast League before you were born, right? Yeah. Because the Padres' first year was what, 68, 69?
68.
Okay, 69 maybe? Yeah. Yeah.
Before my time.
Yeah, before your time.
But Willie Mays, remembering truly, wanted to have you on to
24.
Talk about one of the greatest players of all time, and the fact that he's a Bay Area legend.
Happy birthday. McCovey used to look at McCovey's numbers against Drysdale. It's not pretty for the Big D.
Now, I'll tell you, Mays said to me that every single time he faced Drysdale in a game, he would throw at his head.
Yeah, because Drysdale came from over here.
He said he would. He go, and I put my because he had that little skull cap. I put it back on. I get up there.
Yeah.
Now throwing at Willie Mays at 5'9", 5'10" is a lot different than throwing at McCovey,
6'4".
Big man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So McCovey,
what a thrill for you to be able to interview Mays.
Oh, I wish I still had it.
You don't have it? No. Wow.
Because back then we were on a cassette tape, and who knows where all that stuff.
Reel-to-reel tapes, right? Hey, thanks for the Link Soul gear, man. You're doing a great job with Link Soul, and take care of us a little bit.
Tell them how nice this stuff is.
It's incredible. It's great stuff. And you don't have to be a golfer to enjoy the Link Soul stuff, the quarter zips and the half zips and all the gear that they have. That Johnny D is wearing one of the golf shirts today. So, but the merchandise is high. It's very high quality for sure.
It's a lot of it too is perfect for dinner, happy hour, going out, looking good. It's not all golf.
Yeah. You wear it well, Towny. You really do. Thanks, buddy.
Good to
stuff.
Talk to you.
Thank you.
You know what? You have a good game today.
We're going to try, yeah. What did La Russa say?
It's all that series.
They said, have a good game. Tony?
I'll tell you after.
Or how you doing, Tony?
Yeah.
And he said, I'll tell you after the game. I'll tell you in 3 hours. Right?
Can you imagine hearing that every day?
Yeah, I know.
Every day. Wow. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay, man.
I will talk to you
Sounds good.
pregame.
Sounds good.
We have more coming up. What do we got coming up next?
Do we want to get into our big three stories of the weekend?
The Monday Big Three. We've never done this. We're doing a lot of new stuff now. Next, right here on A's Cast Live. This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Baseball season is officially here, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the first product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 1. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the games. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. They have a new spring menu with special dishes and a full bar with new delicious spring cocktails. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying their award-winning venue. It's all there for you, championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
With an advanced network, cybersecurity solutions, and trusted partnership, Comcast Business powers more businesses than anyone. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and security for your small business for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with qualifying internet. Call today. Ends 5524. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 50 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Rose and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
You deserve extra. Extra Mile is where you get it. You don't just deserve breakfast. You deserve extra fresh Mile 1 coffee just the way you like it. You deserve more than a quick bite. You deserve an extra satisfying array of hot foods, extra good snacks, and fountain drinks that help you go the extra mile. Plus, with Extra Mile rewards, you can earn free stuff. Visit Extra Mile at select Chevron and Texaco locations. See program terms and conditions for details.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'scast. That's athletics.com/A'scast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'scast today.
Streaming from Ricky Henderson Field, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
It is a fluid show. Mason Miller wants to come on right away. Bingo.
AL reliever of the month. We'll do anything for him.
Ken Korach, the voice of the A's, wants to come on. 4:15. Let's do this. We haven't even told you Eric Nadel, a Hall of Famer, the Ford C. Frick Award winner for the Texas Rangers, one of the great broadcasters in the history of the game. He's going to stop by. But we do need to tell you.
I was just going to do that. Look at you.
Celebrate Saturday's 20 runs by grabbing 2 field-level tickets for just $20. 2 field-level tickets for $20. That's a hell of a deal. For the doubleheader against the Rangers on Wednesday. Got to act fast. Why? Because this deal ends tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Athletics.com/flash sale. That's athletics.com/flash sale. To get your tickets now. 2 field level tickets for only $20 for the double dip. That is an incredible deal.
Yeah. And it's weird. I mean, I'm still wrapping my head around that we have a scheduled doubleheader. But it's awesome. That's a great deal. 20 runs. I mean,
I can kind of go back and forth on whether that's awesome. But that's just me.
The 20 runs?
No.
I'll say because
the 2 games in one day.
The 20 runs, I mean, that helped out the old run differential after that day.
It shows why it's a fraud statistic, because one game got 20 runs.
Then the other game that we lost, then what was the final yesterday? 12-4, 12-3?
12-3, 12-4.
So we lost 9 runs there. So the plus 17 went down to only plus 8?
You know, you went from having a man bun to now I feel like I'm doing a show with someone from Grease, the movie Grease.
My hair the wind blows it everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than the man bun, though, right?
No doubt. Fact. Absolutely fact. All righty. So this past week, what's been going on in baseball? Well, we'll say goodbye to the weekend. Stephen Kwan, our buddy from Fremont.
Yeah, he's having a great year, too.
Hammy problem. He's going on the IL. Great news for my fantasy team. Trey Turner finally heats up. And now he even said early, I'm out 6 weeks. How the hell does he know?
Don't get me started with Trey Turner.
He has a bad hammy 6 weeks. Wyatt Langford, you guys said he was the next greatest player of all time. You said he's the next Trout.
Trouty?
You said he's the next Trout. He's out 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring. So we got all kinds of sad news about Patrick Bailey, the Giants.
Concussion. Yeah.
How'd the Giants do today in Philly?
They got swept in a 4-game series. Right? Was it 4 games? Yeah. They're now what do you think their record is now?
15-20.
15-21. but I was told for the longest time that the assistant GM of the Marlins was the reason why they were so bad last year. Gabe Kapler. I thought Kapler was the problem.
Giants got swept in a 4-game set.
Mason Blackman, his debut for them, it didn't matter. Zach Wheeler
He's
shoved.
a local kid. He's from Scranton, right?
Yeah. Zach Wheeler shoved against his old team.
All right, this is what we got going today. Walker Buehler finally back after Tommy John surgery, 696 days. He'll be on the bump for the Dodgers. That's good to see, but that's his second Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
I'm figuring he got Tommy John brace, all of that. Trevor Gott, we got to get on the program. Yes. I had a long he recently had both and from Dr. Meister, who created the brace. He recently had it. He's very up on it. Obviously, you had the surgery. You've got a lot of details on it. I want to get him on the show, but once you get the Tommy John surgery with the brace, you should be good for a long time, pretty much for the rest of your career. So that's good news. Justin Steele, he is back since he left opening day with the hammy for the Cubbies. That's good news.
That was against Texas, too, when that happened.
And away we go. I want to do this thing on Mondays. A lot happens when we're not on the air, whether you can't see us on YouTube or you can't hear us on A's Cast. A lot goes on over the weekend. So I want to do the Monday Big Three, and it can be anything. You can go anywhere with this. The Monday Big Three. We'll come up with an open. Tomorrow, if we were on, we'd have our Hot Takes Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we're not on because it's a day game because we have a doubleheader the next day.
You want to go first? You want me to go first? I don't want to stealing from each other. I'm sure we probably aren't stealing.
I'll give you my number one. Well, I'm just going 1, 2, 3 because my third one is what I'm most happy about.
Okay.
Number one, I went and checked because I had to remind myself who was on that 2021 Braves team. And when I looked in the World Series of that Braves victory, I kept seeing Jorge Soler go deep. Dansby Swanson.
But Swansby is your go-to.
Swanson going yard. Who was the first baseman back then?
Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Nice little Dodger.
So I started looking at that team, and I'm going, the last couple of years, they've been dogs in the postseason. They've been darlings in the regular season, and everybody still wants to act like they're that championship team. Well, they just had a bad series against Seattle, and they just got roughed up by the Dodgers. I'm a little over Alex Anthopoulos and everybody talking about how great the Atlanta Braves are when I don't think they're as good as people say they are. I think they in the regular season, there's certain series where they're going to beat the hell out of the Marlins but you know what? They're soft in the postseason. And this is not the team that won the World Series. They do not have the key players that were there. Remember, Ronald Acuna Jr. was not on the World Series team.
You're forgetting a big part of that team. Jocktober, the Pearls.
Jocktober went deep yesterday for the Snakes. Yeah. But it's like, this isn't the same team. People want to act like the Braves are the same team that won the World Series. And by the way, that World Series team, how many regular season games did they win?
96, I don't know.
88. Oh. This wasn't like a juggernaut team. That's 4 more than the D-backs did last year, right? So it wasn't like they were we've acted like this juggernaut. They're built in this juggernaut. Oh, look at all the contracts. Look how great they are with how they've done all the contracts. You know what? Can we just pump the brakes on how great the Atlanta Braves are? That's number one for me of my Monday Big Three.
4-6 in their last 10. Dodgers held the Braves to 6 runs and 17 hits in 29 innings over the 4-game sweep or the sweep.
And Dodgers flexed.
Yeah.
Towny went deep yesterday. Muncy went yard 3 times a day before. They were flexing all over him.
Didn't Towny hit 2 home runs yesterday? Yeah, he's now tied. Yeah, he's tied for Major League Lead with 10.
Muncy hit 3 on Saturday, right?
Yeah. I think they ended up hitting 8 in a series.
They were flexing on him. This was a big series, right?
Well, believe it or not, that was actually my second one. Dodgers sweeping the Braves is my big 3.
Yeah, but my thing is about Atlanta specifically.
Yeah, mine was the Dodgers sweeping them because this is like the heavyweight fight that was going to happen over the weekend. And the Dodgers just said, hey, come on into Chavez Ravine, and they swept them. So, yeah, with you on that one.
All right, what do you got?
So that was my number one. Number 2, the Luis Arraez trade. We were here because we weren't on the air. This happened after we got off the air. Luis Arraez traded from the Marlins to the San Diego Padres for 4 players.
He was in that dugout.
Hanging out in the dugout.
Last Friday. Saturday morning, he's in Arizona as a Padre.
And he got 4 hits in the game.
In less than 24 hours, because he has multiple days to report.
Yeah.
He got traded. He hung out. We know this for a fact because of Pete and some of the security people. Their security people were waiting for him to leave the dugout so he could get his stuff and, got to get him on his way to Arizona.
Yeah.
He didn't want to leave the dugout. He wanted to say goodbye. He wanted to be there for a few innings. So on Friday, as the game was going on, he was in uniform here in Oakland, and it was a day game in Arizona. So it's X amount of hours later. He's in the Valley of the Sun getting 4 hits in his debut. No Padre had ever done that before.
Yeah, it's incredible. And over the weekend, I text you and you heard it. Jim Bowden said he reminds him of a combination of Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew, and Wade Boggs. And then Steve Phillips this morning said he's an overrated player. So I don't know where to stand on with GMs and where I like Luis Arraez. I think he's a great hitter. I would take him on my team any day of the week. But, a great move for the Padres. But, what happens if they don't make it to the playoffs again this year?
Steve Phillips hosted MLB Now today, which David Force was on. David did a great job.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. The camera's right here, the ballpark cam that they use. It is not easy to just look into a blank camera and talk to somebody in an empty stadium.
Yeah.
David did a really good job.
And Mason Miller was just on MLB Tonight also, right before he came on with us.
Okay, so the way Steve Phillips crapped on Luis Arraez today was so uncalled for, and I don't know if he's just trying to play the Brian Kinney role.
I feel like that's kind of part of it.
But the fact that you said all the guy does is hit singles and that he's easy to defend, where do you see in the numbers of a guy that's won 2 batting titles, where do you see in all of his hits and his batting average and his on-base percentage, if he's so easy to defend, Steve Phillips, why haven't they defended him?
Yeah, why is he still hitting 300 every year? Why is he still getting on base?
And that's the problem with having ex-players, because Harold Reynolds and who else was there today?
Carlos Pena.
They don't have the wherewithal to fight back when someone says that. You should have said, that's one of the most idiotic takes. You can't defend him. Then why is he getting all these hits all these years? Why does he have all these numbers if it's so easy to defend him?
Yeah, remember the one part he said too, he goes, his on base is just his average.
Well, do you care how he gets on base?
I do not. He gets on base.
He gets on base. Wait, you rather have a guy walk than a guy hit?
Yeah,
hey, put it this way. I'll defend it. I'd go head-to-head with Steve Phillips. So if he gets a hit versus a walk, what happens with a walk? Well, you go 90 feet.
Yeah.
If I hit a ball into left field and all of a sudden the left fielder butches it, I can go to second. I got 180 feet instead of 90 feet. And my percentages to score just went up. I mean, it was the lamest take. Then he went on his defense, and I want to go.
He doesn't really have a position out, but it was a bad.
Do
take.
we have anybody who has a position
right now?
No. We're putting guys all over the What are you talking about?
I think the only guy we have right now, he's hurt, would be Geloff. He plays second base.
Statistics lie, and liars use statistics. You can find any type of stat that you want to try and help your argument. It's ridiculous.
No, I'm with you. And my third big story, I had injuries on here, but I'm going to do something better because there was a lot of injuries this weekend. I mean, Trey Turner, Stephen Kwan, Wyatt Langford, Dodgers closer Evan Phillips is now out. Joe Musgrove's on the IL. Evoldi's hurt. George Kirby's hurt. Jacob Wilson's now hitting 429 in Midland. He has a 1,122 OPS. 429 in 84 bats. He's struck out 10 times.
All right, my number 2 for the big Monday, the big 3 on Monday. You got a lot of top players who have gotten off to really bad starts.
Yes.
That a lot of people aren't talking about. I mean, obviously what we're going to see with Seager here, Bregman in Houston, Bichette and Vladdy Jr. in Toronto, J-Rod up in Seattle, Acuna, Olsen in Atlanta, and Corbin Carroll has been horrific.
Yeah.
I know it's pretty much just a little over a month of play, but you're talking about big-name primetime players in their prime. There are a lot of them off to a bad start. So, people can talk about Trout and the knee surgery, but there are just players who have not. Rosarena kind of rebound this weekend against the Mets, but there's a lot of big name players off to really slow starts.
Yeah, I mean, I know Trout had the home runs, but his batting average wasn't where he's normally at. There's the slow starts. I mean, I was looking at Ronald Acuna earlier. He only has 2 home runs. He was a 40-70 guy. He's 2 home runs.
He's off to Matt Olson's been awful.
Olson's been. I mean, but Bo Bichette though, under 200 batting average for a guy that was their best hitter last year.
He's been a 200 hits guy for how long?
Yeah, and then Vlad. I mean, his OPS plus is starting to creep up a little bit, but I mean, the power's not there for Vladdy.
My number one Monday Big Three. My number one is that I'm proud of Cody. I'm proud of the Commander. So for so long, Commanders like to say that he's never made a bet. Oh, John Hughes, the legend. We got a legend, ladies and gentlemen. The man who didn't draft me, he should have drafted me. I would have been better than a lot of those guys. Better than Brady, and that hack John Lynch, I would have been better than him too. By the way, John Lynch hit me in high school. I'm still mad at him.
Wait, with the ball or in football?
In baseball, John Lynch smoked me in Palomino years ago.
So you were looking for Kotze. There he is.
There's a great manager, Mark Kotze. But I'm proud of you. You've talked about
I know where
for
we're going.
years.
I know where we're going.
I've never bet a bet, and you're gonna love this. As people who watch this show know, where people come on, we can't gamble because we're employees. We're Major League Baseball employees, so we can't gamble money. But I have found out through our legal system in baseball, I can bet food. So I will make food bets. So when someone says something outlandish, I'll go, yeah, I'm not buying that. I'll bet you a steak dinner.
I paid off both mine. Johnny
You've had to pay off.
Johnny
still hasn't paid off. You finally have gone the route that I've taught you.
Yep.
A ridiculous Giants fan. They don't want to see the forest through the trees. They want to. There's this ridiculous belief in the Giants. You called out a Giants buddy. I'm proud of you.
I was telling him, I said, hey, it's crazy. The A's are 500 and the Giants are not. He goes, Giants will be fine. They're going to be fine. They're going to rebound. I'm like, okay. Have you watched Matt Chapman and Soler and Blake Snell and these guys? He's like, they're going to be fine. I guarantee they're in the plus. I'm like, I'll take you up on that bet. I bet you they don't. They got to get past the Padres, every team in the NL Central, the Phillies and Braves, maybe the Mets, and the Diamondbacks. Good luck. And they're 6 games under right now. They're 15-21 after the sweep this weekend.
You called them on it, and you said we got a food bet.
And so I have to go to. He lives in San Rafael, so I have to go to the North Bay. If not, he comes on here, which is unfair. He works in the South Bay, but it doesn't matter. We'll figure this out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob Melvin, but I'm not believing right now.
You manned up. You called him on it.
Yeah. I was like the first thing I told you when I saw you at the game yesterday.
That's my number one thing over the weekend. You made a baseball bet. Your buddy's ridiculous. Giants stink. You called him on it, and I like it. You want to get the Hall of Famer on now, Eric Nadel?
Yeah, let's get enough of us.
Enough of the Monday Big Three. I mean, whenever you can get somebody. I mean, what a show we've had today so far. Mason Miller, and it's great to see Mason Miller getting all this notoriety. Ken Korach, who now is a Ford C. Frick Award finalist, to now a guy who's actually won the award. He's a Baseball Hall of Famer. How are you?
I'm doing great. I didn't have a Bill King in front of me blocking me from winning that award the way that Ken does. I think that's definitely a factor.
When you look at all the people who are on the list, and when you were on the list, it's almost like you wish we could put more than one in at a time because it's so deserving.
And we've talked about it. Some of us who have won the award have suggested that, particularly to get some of the deceased candidates in there, because when they come up for the vote, they don't usually get voted in. Bill was the exception there. Generally, it seems the living candidates who can actually go to Cooperstown and make a speech tend to win the elections maybe an inordinate percentage of the time over the guys who have passed away.
What is it like when you first get put on the list?
It was shocking to me. I had no idea. I remember we had made the playoffs for the first time in a while, and we were in Tampa, and it was the day before the playoffs were to begin, and I was sitting at the pool at the hotel, and Barry Horn called me, who was the media writer for the sports section of the Dallas Morning News, and he said, "How does it feel to be a Ford Frick nominee?" And I said, "What are you talking about? I wouldn't know." And he said, "No, they just announced the nominees for this year, and you're nominated." And I really had no idea. I had no inkling that I was even ever considered for it. Nobody had ever given me a clue. Nobody had ever said a word to me about it of the guys who had won it previously. So it was just an unbelievable compliment. I was just so flattered just to be on that list.
So you're like Joe Namath before the Super Bowl, sitting by the pool when you got the information.
There it is. I didn't guarantee any victories, though. I certainly didn't promise I was going to win.
And then you get it, and then I mean, it's life changing, right? I mean, this is an award that puts you up there with the greatest of all time.
Yeah, it's funny because Jaime Harin called me after I won, and he said, this will change your life. This will give you a whole new level of respect in the industry, and it's really going to change a lot of things. And honestly, it really hasn't changed very much, other than people referring to you as a Hall of Famer. But other than that, it hasn't gotten me any restaurant reservations. It hasn't gotten me any interviews that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten. So I honestly can't say that it has changed very much, other than, I guess, in people's perceptions of you, in some quarters.
Well, it got you on A's Cast.
There you go.
And then
what more could a guy want?
In San Francisco, Hunans, they just don't go, here's your table, sir.
They don't. Or anyway, I still have to wait at Tony's Pizza like everybody else.
Well, this season, it's always how do you do it again? We haven't seen a team do it since a long, long time ago. And when the Yankees did it, just seemed they were such a powerhouse. I was getting married at the time. That's how long ago it was the last time we saw this. And here the Rangers are on that quest. It would be nice to see someone go back-to-back again to be a good story. But so take us through, what's the start been like? There's been injuries just for the Rangers.
Yeah, it's been one injury after another. It seems every week somebody has gone down. And the Rangers went through a lot of that last year, like every team does. But this year, to go into the season, not have Scherzer, who had back surgery in the offseason, then have Josh Young, get hurt very early in the season. The Rangers knew they weren't going to have DeGrom for a while. They knew they wouldn't have Scherzer probably until June. They signed Tyler Mahle knowing that they weren't going to have him until after the All-Star break. I mean, they tried to sign Kershaw too. I think they were trying to change their rotation completely in the second half of the season, had they gotten Kershaw also. But then losing Nate Lowe was a big one, and not having Nate Lowe for the first month of the season, along with Josh Young, it was really hard for the Rangers to score runs. They were without their number 3 and 5 hitters. And all of a sudden, the pressure on the other guys was just a little too intense. But, they've survived, which is what they were hoping to do in the first couple of months. At least make sure they're above 500, that they're in position. And given that nobody's really gotten that hot in the West Division, they're in a really good spot right now.
Well, when I saw the name Wyatt, I went, this is perfect for the Texas Rangers. But we just saw that he's gone on the IL.
Yeah, he got hurt over the weekend. He's got a hamstring. He's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks now. And, he had not really produced the way the Rangers hoped that he would, and the way that he did in spring training, where he just terrorized the Cactus League. And maybe in the long run, this will be good for him because he'll go on a rehab assignment at some point, get a lot of at-bats in the minor leagues. And he wasn't really driving the ball. And maybe, make whatever adjustments he needs to make so that when he comes back, he's more of a productive force and is able to do a little more slugging.
And I remember Evan Carter made his debut against us last year in Arlington, and he wore us out last year. He's not off to a good start.
No, he's had a lot of big hits, but he doesn't have the batting average that he had last year where he hit 300. No, he's hit some home runs, and his OPS actually looks pretty good, but his batting average doesn't. And sophomore jinx or whatever, the Rangers are confident that he'll come through it, and he still bats usually, in the number 3 or 5 spot in the Ranger order against righties, but against lefties now, he's not even playing some of the time. I notice he's not in the lineup today with Alex Wood on the mound.
Well, one thing that we always know is our old friend Marcus Semien, Steady Eddie. The best ability is availability. What does it mean that every day Marcus is out there?
And not only is he out there, I mean, his defense this year has just been spectacular. I know in the defensive runs saved by Sports Information Solutions, he's the major league leader now. He's plus 11 at second base. Nobody else
thought that years ago.
Nobody else has more than plus 7. And it passes the eye test, too. You know, we expected today it would be plus 12 or plus 13 because he made 2 dazzling plays yesterday, but today it's still plus 11. I don't know how they figured these things out, but he's been great. He's been very steady offensively. He's hit into a lot of hard outs. I think he's been victimized by the Babbitt thing this year. But he's among the league leaders in runs scored. He's got 24 runs scored, so he's on a pace to score well over 100 runs. And yeah, he's there every day. And Corey Seager has been struggling, so it's been more important than ever that Marcus get off to a good start.
The thing about Corey Seager, even going back to his Dodger days, it's only been his struggles have been with health. We haven't seen him really struggle as a player. That seems odd to me to watch him really struggle. It's always been something that's an injury, he's nagging, maybe playing through it or whatever. What is that like?
Well, I don't know if he's healthy, Chris, because, you know, he had a sports hernia surgery the last day of January. We were told at that time that it would be maybe the second or third week of the season when he'd be back. And as it turned out, he was back for opening day. Maybe he rushed back and shouldn't have. Maybe he's still being bothered by that. You know, Bruce does get him a day or two off every week. You'll usually have a DH day every week. And, you know, my feeling is, you know, he might still be playing with the remnants of that sports hernia bothering him. Definitely the lack of a spring training has come into play here. That I don't doubt that at all.
Now, everybody needs to know when you're in Arlington, you can see from the beautiful new ballpark, you can see Jerry's World. You can see the Cowboys Stadium. And we all know the Cowboys, let's face it, are one of the most popular American sports franchises of all time. They're absolutely and huge. And Jerry Jones just kept building it up, and it's amazing. But they have not won since I was in college. Texas Rangers always need to be relevant by training camp, because if they're not, it is what it is. And then high school football in Texas and college football. What is the world like now? Cowboys gag again. Rangers are the champs. Has life changed for the Texas Rangers?
It has, Chris. We are living in an alternate universe where the Rangers are heroes now. Everything having to do with the Rangers is a festival of euphoria. It's as if November 1st was yesterday. It's unbelievable how much it's changed. And now you've got the Mavericks and the Stars who have both moved on in the playoffs. They're into the second round. And the Cowboys are, you know, they're chopped liver now. It's hard to imagine. And maybe when training camp starts, that's all going to change. But for now, I think the Rangers are really reveling in it.
Well, how happy are you just for the fan base that the diehard Ranger fans have never experienced it, seen it in their lifetime?
Overjoyed. They've suffered so much, you know, going back to 2011 when Nelson Cruz didn't catch the fly ball that would have won the World Series. They came so close before, and now you've got a whole generation of Ranger fans who didn't see that, who, you know, or were too young to really remember that. But for the old timers who went through the period in the 90s where the Rangers finally made the playoffs and got wiped out 3 straight years by the Yankees in the first round of the playoffs, and then all the years before that where they didn't even sniff the playoffs, you know, I'm really happy for those people.
It's funny, I actually brought it up yesterday in the post-game show, I think, because we were talking about, you know, the thing that's made the A's, and I want how you feel about the A's and what you think going into the series, but pitching's meant everything. And I said, you know what, it's good to see these home runs right now, but they're not going to last. And bottom line, you're never going to slug your way to anything. And I said, if anybody remembers that, it'll be the Bobby Valentine Texas Rangers back in the day. Because, I mean, even you had Mickey Tettleton you had all these guys that could hit jacks, and obviously Nolan Ryan was the big thing. But you got Palmeiro, you had all these great players, but you just never had the pitching.
Never had enough pitching. We had Juan Gonzalez and Julio Franco and Palmeiro, Canseco for a while there. And still, didn't have the pitching. And now, you know, you look at the A's staff, you look at that bullpen, and, you know, you guys have a couple of starters still hurt. Get those guys back, and Johnny Doskow told me in spring training when I asked him what do you expect from this team, he said 74 wins. And I'm looking at the Vegas line, which is what, 57 going into the
57
70s?
and a half.
And I'm saying, Johnny, these are professional people who do this. He says 74 and 88. And so I'm texting Johnny on a regular basis now as the A's creep closer to being an over 500 team.
We were all drinking the Kool-Aid because I made a bet with somebody. I made a dinner bet going, we're going to win 70. They're like, you're nuts. I'm like, you got to understand. And I don't know how Vegas didn't get this. Like, they were just so bad last year, and it changed. This team was going to be better. I think realistic at the time, probably 65. But now you're starting to see what we saw at spring training. You're starting to see, like, we got some really good athletes. We've got some really good arms. We got a group that's got a chip on their shoulder. So you got to see him in Arlington. Now you're seeing it again. I guess now you're probably not surprised.
No, and, I talked to Boch about it today, and he said based on what he saw in spring training, he's not really surprised. And, of course, he talks to Kotsay a lot. Kotsay assured him that it's a different team. And, I love seeing it. And Geloff went down, and I was really concerned about that. And then I see they scored 20 runs without him. So I guess they'll be okay.
When you think about Bruce Bochy, and we know this from his time with the Padres, with the Giants, and now with the Texas Rangers, his relationship with his players, it lasts a lifetime. There is a special bond between Mark Kotsay when Kotsay played for him in San Diego. There is a special bond between these two. I don't know how much you ever talk to Bruce Bochy about it or how much it comes up. I know we talk about it with Mark Kotsay, but from your guys' end, do you ever hear from Bochy about what Mark Kotsay means to him?
Yeah, and I ask him about it whenever we play the A's. And, he's got other guys who he's seen around the league who played for him. Phil Nevin's another guy who comes to mind. But in talking about Kotsay, it's a different kind of special feeling that you get from Boch when he talks about Kotsay.
Yeah, it really is cool because it's that bond. We now just think about everything's about these percentages and averages and StatCast's radar readings. It's more than that. It really is more than that.
Yeah, it's still it's a game played by human beings, and Boch is the best I've seen at getting out of the human being what you can possibly get. And that was Ron Washington's main strength as a Ranger manager. He did that so well, and now he's in Anaheim trying to do the same thing with a team that doesn't have enough talent, especially with Trout and Rendon injured. But Boch combines everything you would want in a manager, including that magic touch with the pitching staff. That's just some sort of innate knack that he has for knowing when to make a move and what move to make. It's just phenomenal how often he pulls the starting pitcher at a time where you're wondering, should he really be taking him now? Or he leaves the guy in at a time you're wondering, should he really be leaving him in? And it almost always works out for Boch.
All right, let's end on this. Night game tonight, day game tomorrow. That means everything that you like to do, you can do tomorrow night in San Francisco before the doubleheader on Wednesday.
And we've got the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavericks both playing tomorrow, both starting at 6:30 Pacific time. So after the game tomorrow, I'm going to bum a ride from Vince over to Henry's Hunan, get an early dinner, and then get into a sports bar in time to watch those two teams play. And, they'll be done by 9:30 or 10, and then who knows what happens after that.
I can't thank you enough for all the time you've given us throughout the years. We truly appreciate it here on A's Cast because you're a Hall of Famer.
It's always a lot of fun. Great to see you, Chris.
The Hall of Famer right here on A's Cast Live. We're getting you ready for the Rangers and the Athletics right here on A's Cast. This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Throws and set. It's a drive into center. It's deep and Straws back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit xfinity.com/network management.
Baseball season is officially here, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the first product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 1. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the games. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. They have a new spring menu with special dishes and a full bar with new delicious spring cocktails. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep.
Become an A's insider today. Visit athletics.com/newsletter and sign up to receive the latest team highlights, up-to-date news, features, and more, all delivered free to your inbox. That's athletics.com/newsletter.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
With the sunshine returning, it's time for golf, and more golf at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Cinnabar Hills is also your destination for great food with their beautiful renovated restaurant and quality craft beer selection at their full bar. Featuring a grass driving range and 27 championship caliber holes, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club is the best public course in the Bay Area. For more information, go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
You deserve extra. Extra Mile is where you get it. You don't just deserve breakfast. You deserve extra fresh Mile 1 coffee just the way you like it. You deserve more than a quick bite. You deserve an extra satisfying array of hot foods, extra good snacks, and fountain drinks that help you go the extra mile. Plus, with Extra Mile rewards, you can earn free stuff. Visit Extra Mile at select Chevron and Texaco locations. See program terms and conditions for details.
Now back to A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right, we want to have the Karate Kid on. You had a big kickboxing this weekend. Because everybody was like, Canelo's fighting. And I'm like, no, Ray's fighting. Not Canelo. And I don't care about Canelo's feud with the Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy, and Golden Boy Productions.
Yeah.
That's not our beef.
No, not our rap.
We were about you this weekend. How did it go?
It went well. I was expecting one fight and then ended up having 3 because certain divisions were light and they needed opponents. So I said, sure, I'll step in. So went from 1 fight to 3. The final was the hardest because I was tired, and the gentleman I was facing thought he was Clubber Lang. But
he was in.
Oh, he was all in, man. He must have thought this was his last hurrah. He must have had Eye of the Tiger playing in his head. He was ready to go. So off the jump, it did not go well. We'll say it was a rough first round. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish, though. And I finished strong enough to get that gold.
So is that how the chin is a little roughed up today?
Yeah, a little roughed up on the chin.
Show him the chin.
Yeah, a little roughed up on the chin.
I like it.
Yeah.
So you are you're above a black belt.
No, I'm a black belt. And I a lackadaisical black belt at that in Taekwondo, which I have not practiced formally in years. So it's kind of just collecting dust.
And this
somewhere.
was kickboxing.
This is kickboxing.
This is a grown ass man's game, kickboxing.
Yeah.
I love it. I've actually called back in the day a little kickboxing. I wish kickboxing would have gotten more popular in our country because it is so entertaining.
It really is. I mean, Muay Thai, it's gotten really popular lately. One championship. You have Glory Kickboxing and UFC. You see a lot of guys who went from Muay Thai are now exceeding in UFC. Alex Pereira, one of them. Israel Adesanya. That style is getting really popular nowadays.
Well, it's the ability. I can take you out hands or feet.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start kicking a guy on his thigh and you see those welts.
Yeah.
I love kickboxing.
Yeah, it's great.
ESPN used to always have it back in the day. We haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, it's deserving of a comeback, no doubt.
So tell everybody what you do for us, because when we mentioned the Karate Kid.
Yeah, so basically I'm help out with Cody. I'm one of the producers along here on A's Cast. So when the commander has to step out, I step in and keep things running.
It's
on
like
A's Cast
Cody
Live.
was never here.
Yeah, when he took his European trek with his lovely wife, we filled in like nothing happened.
It seems very replaceable, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's next man up mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why how we operate around here, man.
Yeah.
That's why we're so flexible and what we bring the great content to you. It's like it's not just we can do one specific thing. We specialize in all areas. Went from audio only now to video, and it's getting bigger and bigger.
So if you ever feel like you're too comfortable or you want a big raise, you just remember there's always somebody wait. It's the Patriots way.
That's for sure.
I don't know who's Bill Belichick, but it's a Patriots way. Also, you handle all the affiliates.
I do. Yeah, I handle the affiliates on the radio side. I also handle all our advertisements via Skyview and everything like that, making sure everyone's happy on the corporate partnership side as well, because they're a big part of what we do. We can bring the great baseball and then. And honestly, it's also making sure those divas up there got everything they need to Vince and Ken. We know how much of a hassle they can be. And Johnny Dasco, let me tell you, the dude may be all sunshines and rainbows, but that man is a menace, Towny. We can all admit to that.
It is amazing. All you do is call the game. That's all you do. You're not playing.
Bro.
I mean, it's like these play-by-play guys think they're Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
You're not the star.
Bro, no.
Let me ask you a question. If there was no game today, would anybody be listening to them?
Are you kidding me, bro?
Yeah.
No. There was no game. No one's going to be like, hey, we're going to listen to these guys. It's not, they are divas. And we have to placate to them constantly.
Yeah.
Bro.
Oh. I mean, Johnny broadcasts once every 2 weeks, and you think you're dealing with Vin Scully.
Bro.
Right?
Yeah, for once in a while. It's times like that. I'm like, maybe getting punched in the face isn't that bad,
Yeah, getting punched in the face doesn't sound good anymore.
Well, as I get older, it becomes less and less appealing.
Are you still teaching?
I do, yeah. We're trying to build, especially with the youth kickboxing, because the school I teach at now, it's a Kaiju Kembo school. It's a younger martial art. It started in Hawaii about less than 100 years ago. The family who runs it, They have a history of Filipino martial arts as well, so they do stick fighting and things like that. But kickboxing was something they wanted to grow into, and I had that experience on the amateur side. So they asked, like, hey, do you want to expand and grow it? And I said, sure. I coached a little bit back in Pennsylvania with youth and loved doing it because back when COVID hit, there wasn't any baseball. That's what I was doing. So I was happy to do it here and teach it to adults as well.
Fighting with sticks, Cody.
I was trying to think of a good comparison. When I step out, I'm Trout and he's Joe Adell.
Yeah, we don't need Trout anymore. We got a Joe Dell.
Yeah, Joe Adell's hitting. So, I mean.
Hit again yesterday.
Yeah. Man, I guess I am becoming our version of Mike Trout. And this isn't good for me.
By the way, we didn't mention yet on the show. Oh, wait, that's our ticket info. Joe Boyle has gone on the IL with the lower back strain. Hogan Harris has been recalled. I just know from it. Well, Martin Gallego says Osvaldo Beto, he's announced it. I had it for you yesterday from my source.
Yeah, he said, hold on, where is it at? Let me just confirm. Hearing the A's will bring up Osvaldo Beto from AAA, likely to make a start in Wednesday's doubleheader.
Oh, I told you yesterday he was coming up.
He also has it.
What do you need Martin Gallegos? You just listen to the postgame show.
He also said that someone asked about, is there any updates on Andujar? And he said he's doing baseball activity, but A's are slowing his progression after he experienced some lateral knee soreness. No timeline to begin a rehab assignment. So that's for Miguel Andujar.
I'm so curious to get him back because remember he didn't strike out once in spring training. And, Steve Phillips it was idiotic what he said. Your old GM.
Yep.
Yeah. Guys that make contact, we desperately need guys like that because we're back. Do you have force on home runs?
Oh, yeah. Give me a second.
We are back. Only the Mariners and the Reds have a higher 3 true outcome percentage. That's walks, home runs, strikeouts than the Athletics. Mariners, so your guys come to the plate. They're essentially hitting a jack, walking, or striking out. Mariners are at 39.9%. Reds are at 38.5%. We're at 37.6%. And let's be honest, we're not walking a lot. It's either strikeout or walk right now for this offense. So when you hit home runs and you start to have guys on base, it looks great, but it's not sustainable. Earlier today, MLB Now, our general manager, David Forrest, it was a really good interview. I'm sure they're going to post the whole thing.
Yeah, it's probably on I haven't looked on YouTube, but I think it might be on YouTube already. But I got the clip of him talking about the team, and then he goes in the home runs.
David Forrest loves him some home runs.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I mean, this group is a lot more experienced than they were last year. Obviously, some of the young players who came up got their feet wet, and guys are starting to get comfortable in the big leagues. But, you mentioned the homers early on. Despite, some of the narrative out there, homers are still the best way to score runs. So I think the homers have been good, and then our bullpen has been just outstanding. To a man, every guy out there has pitched really well, and we've won the games where we've had leads.
Home runs.
He loves home runs. What's up with my headset?
What is he told us before? Ball go far, team go far.
But that's not.
I have the numbers. I don't know if you wrote them down from the.
That's not gonna work because they're not. This isn't going to be the team that's 18 and 19. I know they've hit a lot of home runs, but they've hit a lot of solo home runs, and at some point,
25 to be exact.
You've got to be able
26 solo home runs.
You've got to be able to generate runs to help this pitching staff. Now, want to player of the week, AL player of the week is Brent Rooker. I want to show him a lot of love because Brent Rooker, it's from April 29th to May 5th. Brent Rooker at 438. See, that's what I'm talking about. Now, 438 is unreal. But the fact that he's putting the ball in play, he's not striking out. He's being productive with home runs. We need more of that. But Rooker for the week at 438, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 1 double, 4 walks, 6 runs. As they say in the NBA, he's filling up the box score. And he stole a base.
When I came back,
he stole a base.
When I came back up from down here, setting everything up, you said, "Hey, what do you think the most impressive thing about the whole thing with Rooker being named player of the week?" I'm like, "Team won a lot of games." So you're like, "No, okay, second most important thing." And I said something. You're like, "Okay, third most important thing." I don't know. He hit a home run that wasn't a solo home run. You're like, he stole a base.
He stole a base. I love it. A 550 on base, a 1,063 slug for a 1,613 OPS. The 2 home runs in 1 inning. It's only happened 1 time before. Mark McGwire did it at the Kingdome against the Mariners back in 1996 on September 22nd. But that's when you become an elite player, is when you're just not hitting solo home runs. When you're being productive, you're having productive at-bats. A's have struck out a lot. They've hit a lot of home runs. And when you get hot, it's sexy and it looks good. But the minute you're not hot, you're not scoring any runs with solo jacks, and your pitchers have to be flawless.
Yeah, so over the last 7 games, 6-1, 15 home runs, a 522 slugging percentage as a team, and a plus 21 run differential. Now, remember, run differential is a stat everyone looks at.
Everybody looks at it.
That's pretty impressive. And remember, that was the 20-20 run game, and then obviously what happened yesterday. But the team has been scoring runs with guys on base. There's been sack flies and sack bunts. The sack bunting has gotten a little better.
Sack bunts. Are we allowed to do that?
So it's been and the pitching has been great. I mean, the ERA over that span over 7 games is a team ERA of 3.71, which is that's very solid.
Did you mention 20 runs?
20 runs, yes.
20 runs. We're celebrating Saturday's 20 runs by grabbing 2 by you being able to grab 2 field tickets for just $20 for the doubleheader against the Texas Rangers. It's a pretty good deal. 2 field level tickets for the double dip against the Rangers. Act fast. It ends tomorrow, the deal at 2 o'clock. Athletics.com/flash sale. That's athletics.com/flash sale. Let me say that again. Slash and flash just don't go together. Athletics.com/flash sale.
Correct. Sorry.
To secure your tickets today.
Sorry, I'm just trying to give us more lighting on the old camera with the sun going down.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden it's like the sun's just in your eyes, and then all of a sudden it's like now the sun goes down and it's cold.
Yeah, it's 5:30.
This will be something I don't miss about the Coliseum.
Yeah, well, I think I usually it's now that we're getting later in the sun, we're getting into May. It was it started around 5 o'clock last month where the sun was going down. Now we're hitting 5:30. So hopefully by June, July, when we're done ending the show, the sun will still be out and we won't have to worry about the lighting.
Yeah, it's terrible. You know, I thought what Eric Nadel said, and you think about Mark Kotze, when you take on a job like this and you don't have that experience, let's face it, where was Kotz managing before this?
Nowhere.
He is clearly somebody that we knew that the last regime, it was a Billy Beane, Bob Melvin regime. Okay. Billy Beane is doing other things in life and was very obvious, wanted to be less day to day. David was elevated to GM to take over the day to day, and Billy was a vice president. And as time went on, David took on more and more and more, Billy less and less and less, to a point to where now Billy is just really there. David needs some advice. He can call him, right? Billy is not the day-to-day, everything happening, everything going on with the A's right now and the success of this team, despite all of the issues. As I said the other day, I went Harry Potter. It's like Dementors are everywhere, right? You got all this craziness going on.
Yeah. Although I was surprised Vince Tocci did not know about Harry Potter.
He's a sci-fi geek, and he didn't know Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I don't know, for you sci-fi geeks, what your sci-fi nerdism is.
Yeah, I never read the books, but I watched all the movies.
I don't know if you're Harry Potter. I don't know if you're Star Wars. I don't know if you're Star Trek. I can't keep track of all you guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of different nerdy sci-fi things out there. But yeah,
Fact.
Dementors from the prison of Azkaban is where they're from.
Azkaban.
I always heard him say Azkaban.
It's A-S.
Yeah, that's what they always said in the movie. I thought, who knows? Either way, they're the they suck the happiness out of people.
when it comes to this,
Ray's laughing. He knows he's a Harry Potter guy.
What is it? Az or Oz? Azkaban. So I got the Dementors right. Yeah.
I heard this when you were doing post game live. I was listening live. What was that Saturday night after my Star Wars beer crawl?
Did they really need to make 9 movies? What was it? 9 movies?
8. Oh, well, if you count the spinoffs, there's like 10 or 11.
My God. I had to watch all of them. Because my wife read the books, and then she wanted to watch the movies, and then my kids got into it, because they got into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, if I have to hear about the Dark Lord one more time. The Dark Lord. You say his name, shall appear. The Dark Lord.
I remember was doing this
So
last year, and it
over
was
that.
funny. Just you say his name, he shall appear. The Dark Lord.
He didn't seem all that scary in the end.
No. Who was that? Ralph Fiennes who played him?
And then now he's the new M in the James Bond movies.
Yes.
Like all of a sudden I was watching the one James Bond movie and I went, hey, that's Voldemort.
He was also the villain in Red Dragon, the third movie of the Hannibal series. What's that? Yeah. But yeah, I remember. I think he's okay as M in Bond.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine. He's a good actor. Where was I going with this? So you get me sidetracked on,
we were talking about the mentors.
Are we going to start talking about Spock, and are we going to have like that?
I can't do that. I can't do it.
We're going to have a handshake going?
I can't do the. Of course, Ray can.
The relationship of Bochy and Kotze. And getting back to when I brought up Bean, Melvin, and then really Kotze is a force guy. And that's how we are where we are. And you give a guy an opportunity who's been in baseball, been on the coaching staff in various capacities, but never really managed.
He was a quality control coach for a while, right?
So what you needed, or what you definitely need, is you need people that you can really rely on, because there's times where you're going to have questions. And Bruce Bochy has built such great relationships with his former players. And that's, I love to talk about that, because we have now made this game. We act like players literally are just numbers, not even numbers, that their percentages, because this is the reality. All of these things that you see in baseball now, it's either an average, a percentage, or a radar reading.
Yeah.
StatCast is radar. So when they say it's StatCast, how you doing? Who is it? San Rafael?
North Bay.
The Bulldogs? Bulldog baseball? I love it. Primetime seats today, too. Look at these guys living large. So when they try out these StatCast readings, it's radar. Okay? So we're trying to make these readings and these percentages and these averages like that's it. And the reality is you're dealing with human beings. And the thing about somebody like Bruce Bochy has been a master at dealing with people. And you can see that based off his relationship with ex-players when you don't need, guys don't play for you anymore. You don't need them anymore. They're not performing for you. They're not helping you. But it's the relationships and the bonds he builds with his players that carry on for life. And the relationship between Mark Kotze and Bruce Bochy, you're seeing it, because this is a man that when Kotze has questions, or Kotze has to, if it's somebody outside of the organization, because sometimes you've got some things that you want to talk about that you don't want to talk about inside the organization. He's got Bruce Bochy to fall back on. It tells you a lot about the relationship between the two, the bond between the two, and it tells you a lot about Bruce Bochy is just not a manager. He's a life confidant.
Yeah, I mean, you've talked about it so many times about you got to manage people when you're in this role, as for Kotze and Bochy, and we know how good Bob Melvin was at that, and now Kotze's doing a very good job of that. Well, the team the last couple of years is, there's only a beat around the bush. I mean, the team hasn't been as good as we thought or hoped, but they're getting better this year, and Kotze's doing a great job of managing those personalities in that clubhouse, because this clubhouse, everything we hear is they have a great clubhouse right now, which is awesome to hear. That's usually when a team is building something and getting good, and Kotze's doing a great job of managing all those guys with different things going on. I mean, we don't know what these guys are dealing with in their personal lives. I mean, yeah, we know what's going on in our personal lives, but we have no idea what's going on with these guys in the clubhouse, and Kotze does a nice job of getting these guys ready to play every day, and that's what you have to do in that role, and I think he's done a great job, especially after last year winning 50 games. Now you're at 17 and 18, and you're playing way better than anyone thought.
What's going on in your personal life?
Oh, you were here yesterday. We were here together yesterday. I'm sure you heard everything.
Yesterday was gorgeous, by the way. Like, it was so nice. Every once in a while, you got to get out of the press box. You got to come down and remember why you love the game so much, right? You got to come down, get into the sun, and just watch baseball. Because we get so much into, we're so into all these different things. It's nice just to be a fan again, just to sit there, not worry about anything, but just watching baseball, watch the players, and watch the game. You really need to do that. I don't do it enough. I was glad I did it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I decided, like, okay, the team's playing really well, and they're on a winning streak, and I was like, let's come up and watch them play. I mean, it's a Sunday. We don't get a chance to come to a lot of games, mainly when the Angels are here because she wants to see them play. It's her team. So we came up, and then I told you we were down there. You came down. Road trip. Mike was with us.
The great road trip.
Hanging out with us for innings. My wife's going to get him an A's Cast shirt. He called me earlier and asked.
A's what? Oh, A's Cast?
The A's Cast friend of the program
yeah,
shirt.
I need to get someone to, hey, if anybody is into printing and printing T-shirts, contact me, ctownsend@athletics.com. That's ctownsend@athletics.com. I want to get a bunch of A's Cast shirts.
My wife can make one or two. I'm not going to ask her to make hundreds.
No. I'll take care of that. But getting back to, you think about we're watching Mark Kotsay grow in front of our eyes as a leader. Because what could you really take from the last 2 years? I mean, it was damage control. It was crisis management. Record amounts of players, loss after loss after loss. I'm asking the general manager, hey, are you talking to because obviously David Force being around for a long time, he needed to be somebody that talked Kotsay off the ledge.
Yeah.
And then Kotsay's got to talk his coaches off the ledge and the players and everything. This is a year where we're starting to see growth. We're seeing growth from everybody. We're seeing growth of the players. We're seeing growth of a lot of the staff has already been here and done that.
Yeah.
But you're really seeing the growth of the players and you're seeing the growth of Kotsay.
Yeah, 100%. And it's great to see that, you mentioned a couple of years ago in Kotsay's first year. I mean, they essentially gutted the entire team. And it was a bunch of new guys coming in. There was guys getting traded during spring training. We were there when Sean and I got traded. That was one of the most bizarre things I've ever been a part of in my entire life.
People were crying in the clubhouse. Sean Manaea came in, and he went over to a couple pitchers, and guys were crying. And who was I interviewing?
No.
Oh, what's his name? Cal, now with the Giants.
Oh, Dalton Jeffries.
I was interviewing Dalton Jeffries, and Sean Manaea was hugging and crying with somebody, and then Sean Murphy came over and was a part of the hug. And I'm like doing this interview, and this is all happening right behind us. Dalton has no idea what's going on behind, and you're like, wow, this is like a supremely emotional moment. That was a very close-knit group. It just happens in sports that, there's going to be movement. There's going to be changes. It happens. It's just a reality. And it was tough to watch that group that had battled together in 2018, 2019. 1 minute, we're out of here?
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional talking about that core group, and you're
wrapping you up.
Wrap it up? We got a game to go to?
Yeah.
I'm spilling my heart here for Mark Kotsay.
Good. Keep going.
You just ruined it. You ruined the moment. You ever had that told to you? You've ruined the moment.
Every day of my life.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Welcome to being married. What a great show we had today. Mason Miller wants to go at 4:00. Guess what? We'll go at 4:00.
I mean, he's used to coming in and closing at the game. Well, now he could be the opener.
Yeah, this is what it's like to be the opener, Mason Miller. So Mason Miller let us off today. Then the great Ken Korach to remember Willie Mays. Happy birthday, Willie Mays. 93.
Ken Korach was the bulk man in that situation. But yes, Willie Mays, 93, the oldest living Hall of Fame player right now.
I think about that. Pretty much all the guys you played with are no longer around, right? You're God bless him. God bless Willie Mays. I mean, Willie Mays is, it's always tough. Who's the greatest player of all time? It's a conversation. As long as you're in that conversation, it's hard to say who the greatest basketball, who the greatest football, but as long as you're in the conversation, there's no question. If you're going to have a conversation on who the greatest baseball player is of all time, Willie Mays is in that conversation.
Oh, 110% agree.
Like we talk about, there's Hall of Famers, and then there's that select upper echelon of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, he's in there.
Willie Mays is up there. Ruth has a seat. Gehrig has a seat. Teddy Ballgame. Aaron.
That was interesting.
Bonds should be there.
If you heard
Ricky is there.
What Harold and all them were talking about MLB Now, they talked about how guys were going to war when Willie Mays and Ted Williams were playing, and now guys.
Yeah, Bob Feller and Ted Williams and Hank Greenberg and these guys, they actually went to real war. We're not talking about war as an analytic.
Went above replacements.
As Harold Reynolds said, machine gun war.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they left and then came back and had to. I mean, think about it. Just think about the mental side of having to come back into society, come back into regular life, come back into baseball. We didn't really think so much about mental health back then. We just said, hey, get back and start competing in baseball again. Life was a different time. We need to have way, because I can tell you right now, I can hear Ryan Spielborg's in my head. Well, the average fastball is now 94. It was only, I could hear that right now.
Yeah.
Like, these guys dealt with far more real life issues than we ever dealt with.
Yeah. And
war, depression,
yeah.
We now sit here and go, oh my God, the veterans got to take the kids out and buy them suits and dinner because they're so broke, only making $800,000 a year.
Different times. Also, don't forget the Hall of Famer Eric Nadel.
The greatness, the Ford C. Frick Award winner.
Multiple Hall of Famers on this program, and Mason Miller.
The man who's going to just pound Chinese food tomorrow night at Henry's Hunan.
And watch Dallas sports.
How about that? Take a back seat, Dak. The Cowboys right now, a lot of people after this latest choke, a lot of people in Big D are down on the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Rangers, and I'm happy for them. Rangers riding high as the World Series champs.
And then, like as Eric mentioned, not that I'm sure most of our audience probably doesn't care, but Dallas Stars second round, Mavericks second round. I know that Dallas is on fire right now, sports stuff for the Cowboys, which I love.
We will be back. When are we
Friday.
back?
Friday. Mariners.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Day game.
What are we doing Wednesday?
Doubleheader.
Oh, you guys are all going to be here for the doubleheader, right?
I'll be here, yeah.
For both games?
Yeah, majority of the second one. I'm going to walk around with Johnny and see what I can learn as a cage whisperer.
Oh, wow. You're going to know what it's like to be Johnny, huh?
I'm going to bring my hat and everything.
I think we all strive to have Johnny's job. All righty, coming up next, A's and the Rangers, the start of a 4-game set, 4 games in 3 days, coming up right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network.
0-2, Wegener delivers. Mays hits it into left field. There goes number 3,000. Willie Mays gets his 3,000th base hit.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.